Welcome to Focus on Liberia. Welcome, and welcome to the Hour of Politics. It's been about a month now, and you have not seen me hosting here with our program, The Hour of Politics. So I'm happy being back after a long month of vacation. Welcome to the show. I have a lot of interesting stories for you to break down and to also lay on you so that you get a much better understanding on these trending and political stories taking place in Liberia. As you know, Ansony Sieh, I am the host of the Hour of Politics here. I focus on Liberia, where we educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. But before we get started, let me announce something to you. Focus on Liberia. This network is turning, or has turned, I should say, 4 years old. So we are having an anniversary celebration coming very soon. And you see it right there, read by me. Focus on Liberia 4th-year anniversary celebration. That will be taking place on the 12th of September, and we will like you to be a part. But I'm here today to handle the business of politics with you, and those of you who always, try to be part of this conversation here, Focus on Liberia. Please join me, hit that share button, and let us get started. Hey, you always like to hear a story or a topic, but today we have a focus. And our focus for today is Liberia trending political stories. There are many of them, including corruption, the one that smell, that way that many people are like, this is not my Liberia. But hey, let's get to it. Why do I have new appointments in the pro-poor government? This government is still appointing people. Who are they appointing anyway? What position are they appointing these people to? And to do what? Are they not have enough appointments already? The first individuals that they have appointed, how have they helped in shaping this country in a direction that will benefit the ordinary people? So we have appointments, right? I will talk about it. Number two, the dedication of a 14 military hospital in 3 years. So at long last, after we have seen duplexes and mansions all over the place in less than 3 years for these government officials, including the president, at long last, the most talked about military hospital is being dedicated. What do we have in it? Does it actually reach the status of a military hospital? Is that even a clinic? Is it up to a clinic status in the first place? Somebody might be wondering, they got something for us. University of Liberia lies in ruin, a national disgrace for our country. And also, folks, the politics of numbers between Team Bwaka and Team Cummings. This is the one some of you probably might be waiting for. But I have a question. Which candidate is desperate, Bwaka or Cummings? I am here. I am back. Welcome, and let us get started. And as you know, this is the Hour of Politics here at Focus on Liberia. But before we get started, we're going to do this.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Ansony Sieh hosting the Hour of Politics. Let's get to our stories right away. I don't want to waste your time. Our first issue to discuss is about this new appointments in the proper government. You know, when you are a leader of a country that is experiencing economic challenges, where poverty has become the order of the day, where people are finding it difficult to find daily meals, when you are appointing people in a government that is having significant challenges of raising the necessary revenue to even pay teachers, nurses, and doctors, you want to know who you are appointing and for what you are appointing them. You do not want to carry on an appointment that will become a burden to you. But this is what that has become the order of the day in the proper government. They bring in misfits and they give them insignificant positions when they have no responsibilities whatsoever to carry on, increasing the size of government. The government is becoming ineffective every day, and appointments after appointments, and these appointments are now translating into effective running of the government. Instead, these appointments are becoming burdened by themselves on the very government. So the intention, the reason for which individuals are appointed into government is because these individuals are coming to shape things in a more positive direction, to move things forward, to bring about transformation, to bring about upliftment, to resuscitate institutions that are dead and dormant so that they can be able to provide services for the people that they serve, the Liberian people. But this is the opposite in this government. And the question is, why does it always have to be this way? Is it that the individuals don't know what they're doing? Or is it because the one making the appointment does not have any clear understanding of the reason why he is appointing these individuals in the first place? So why all these appointments are for? Just to fill positions in government and they have no responsibility? Is that the reason you appoint these people? The one that shocked me is this position for media and branding. What is that? You created a position to brand what? To brand the proper government? So what is the branding that they will be doing, or this individual will be doing, that the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism cannot do, for which that other position has to be created? Is the goal is to pacify another single fund in government? Is that what it is? Or is it actually intended to contribute to the upliftment of our people? We've heard about positions after the other. We have not seen any movement of activities in the country in the right direction to give our people a break from this cycle of poverty. You're just appointing people. And these people come, they don't have to change anything. So this appointment of individuals, the one that really caught my attention is this guy who is responsible for branding. To be branding what? Don't you have a Ministry of Information that should be the institution charged with the statutory responsibility to explain government policies and programs, what the government is doing, the reason it's doing it. And as we are talking, can this guy who has been appointed, or the individual who has been appointed to carry on this branding, go on and brand the University of Liberia right now that is completely lying in ruin and a national disgrace to our country? Is the individual going to be branding the sycamore tree? Is this person going to be branding the military hospital? Is the person going to be branding the ministries and agencies in Liberia? Because the last time I checked, these ministries, most of them are dirty and filthy. The University of Liberia is one example, dirty and filthy. The Ministry of Finance is another dirty bill in our country. Is this guy going to be branding it? Liberians deserve serious-minded leaders who are intentional about how they change and improve the life of our people. And that bunch of individuals who want to sit behind executive chairs, want them for no reason, collect free checks, and subject our people to agony, mystery, mayhem, and poverty. All these appointments will not help in any shape or form to improve the material condition of our people, because they are not intentional, they are not calculated. They are all meant to pacify few individuals, to put them into a government that is already having a hard time paying the very first people that are in there. So these appointments are not in the interest of our people. And some of these appointments, they don't even have term for reference. The individuals who are going to occupy these positions will be asking, what am I supposed to do? They even don't know. The worst thing is the individual who even doing the appointment has no clue what these people are supposed to be doing, because the responsibilities are not being defined. Even the institutions or the localities to which those individuals have been appointed, they have no economic benefit, viability to the people. So someone occupies a position, commissioner for this, or that person is on his farm, he collects that church, and we think we are running a country. Local government should be the engine for reviving and improving the material condition of any group of people. But in Liberia, it's a different case. When you are a commissioner, you are on your farm. And the reason this person is on the farm, because that locality for which that person has been appointed to serve as a commissioner is not structured. It's not in place. No structures in place to carry on even administrative duties and functions before talking about economic activities in that area. So if you appoint people when you don't have these structures into place, it is just a waste of time of our money and a waste of time of the people of Liberia. So all the appointments many of you have heard about, they are all meaningless, because when one occupies its position, the goal is not only to earn a salary, but it's more so to provide a service to a group of people to make life better. But where you appoint an individual and the person has no responsibility, in fact, no structure in place to do that, you are just wasting our time. And that appointment is not intended to improve the life of the people. It is just intended to make you feel as the almighty God who has that power to appoint. So look, folks, I'm not going to waste your time anymore on this appointment. Let us move to our next story. The dedication of a 14 military hospital in 3 years. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The military hospital has finally been dedicated 3 years after the proper government came to power. And the thing is, who are the people the military hospital intended for anyway? All right, I'll give you an educated answer. The Liberian people. I know they say military because even the soldiers are military people, right? Now I'll say I'll give you an educated answer. What are you, soldier? You are Liberian. So let's say that hospital was intended or was being built for the Liberian people. When a president is elected, when a government is elected, a primary responsibility is to its people to serve them and provide basic social services for their upliftment. Do you agree with me? Oh, yes, I know you agree with me on this one. Other than that, there should be no government. The goal of a government, may I emphasize, folks, is to provide social services that are intended for the upliftment and the improvement of the material condition of the people of that country. That's why we elect government. That is why even social scientists will tell you there is something called social contract, an agreement between the people and the government that will put you there so that you can serve our best interest to provide for us those things that are needed for us to live a befitting life. And so the proper government was elected. And one of the things that a government should be responsible for its people is providing what? Healthcare. And so the much talk about military hospital was being preached by our friends in the proper government. That is one of the greatest things that has ever happened in the history of our country. Never a day passes without this military hospital being talked about. But hold on a minute, folks. This military hospital was intended for the people who elected the government, or the people for whom the government was elected. This hospital is for them. So how come it has to take this long? 3 years for this one much talk about hospital to be renovated. So the people have been waiting for all this long, 3 years for a single hospital. Some of you might not be getting where I'm going with this. This is what I'm going with it. When the proper government came to power, it had, we got to know what George Manawia, a man from the slum, he went to stardom though. He saw it all. So he shouldn't be greedy. He's seen money. He's seen luxury, live in luxury. He was a common man who as well saw poverty. And so you should have the unique sense and be intentional about how you outlive your people. They saw everything in them, in him, or in him, in them. And so they chose him that he will understand their condition. And so that understanding will drive him, will be the catalyst that will prepare him to intentionally work in their best interest. That was the understanding. That was the belief. That was the motivation for which this guy was elected. That upon being elected, the people will be his number one priority. Where they go to school, where they go to hospital, the roads that they travel on, those are the things that will consume his daily appetite as a leader to provide leadership in the country. Did we see that? Of course not. We did not see that. What we saw was in less than 3 months, This brother was on a mission. I'm talking about President Weah was on a mission to resuscitate his own economic standing in the country. What a disconnect. Really? This gentleman for whom the people stood in the rain, in the sun, hoping that he was coming to build hospitals for them or even renovate the existing ones, that those things would be his priority. And his number one priority as a president was to demolish his home, not one home, but homes, and rebuild them. And even as though that was not enough, he started building condominiums all the place, buying land all the place, and all of his properties are completed 100%, according to his presidential press secretary. 14 units. That number 14 here, we'll talk about it today, my people. 14 units were constructed. How can one man live in 14 units of austere buildings on top of 9th Street, building that was like a dump site for the people of Cinco? He turned it into a palace. That military hospital intended for the people was still waiting. 3 years later, folks, we have a military hospital being dedicated. I was asking the question earlier in my intro here. Is that up to the status of a hospital befitting the people of Liberia? Compare that hospital with the condominiums. Compare that hospital with the mansion he built for himself in this hospital that has to take 3 long years to be built. Whereas 14 units for himself only. A mansion on 9th Street for himself only. And many other properties that he has built. All of those were done in less than 2 years just for him. Not one though, but many were done for him, by him, in less than 3 years. Does that show you his priority here? Is the president's priority the people? No. If his priority were the people, what's the people? If his priority has been the people, you have seen that this military hospital, the way they have talked about it, the way they have defended it, the way they have justified for it, it would have been the first thing to have been completed. But no, that's not the first. The first thing that was completed were the 14 condominiums for the president. The second thing that was done was the refurbishing of Jamaica Resort, followed by 9th Street, and the acquisitions of a jet. These were the priority of the brother. So should we celebrate this military hospital? And what is in the military hospital? The emergency room is 14 emergency room. The hallway, now I will name it 14 hallway. The rooms, I will name it 14 room. Come to think about it. Everything in no time has to be named in his name, in his honor. The Dole Community 1 mile road that was built, there was a statue. Amen. So the idea of coming to power was about you, not about the people. Were you elected for you or for the people? And by the people. Let's leave it. Let's move on. But let me conclude. This 14 military hospital, and I know many of you will come to intellectualize this debate. At least the president has built something. At least there's a hospital. But the question that I want to ask you, if the hospital, the way it was being talked about or it has been talked about, how come when a minister is sick, that person is taken to Ghana, to India, and other places? How good is the military hospital for the people? When Mabutu Yimba had to be flown outside of Liberia when he fell ill and later died, may his soul rest in peace. How good is the military hospital? When Dwight Howard Taylor, the vice president of the country, fell sick, she has to also be taken to Ghana. So how good is the hospital, folks? Do you get my understanding of this issue now? So yeah, celebrate your military hospital. You have never had any before. Let me progress. Let's come to this issue of University of Liberia. I'm tired with the military hospital. I've heard so much about it. And the thing they said is completely has been dedicated. Do we have nurses and doctors? Do we have the necessary equipment in there? All I saw in there, 14 emergency room, 14 lab, 14 days. Maybe the doctors there should be wearing, 14 gown and everything should be 14. And this will satisfy you. We have to get serious. We are 174 years old. We are 100 years behind in advancement and national development, folks. Let us stop being petty and on a serious year with national leadership. We have to get serious, folks. The University of Liberia. Again, our government came to power. Promised tuition-free education. And there was celebration all over the place. And I must admit, Liberia is a poor country. I must admit, 99% of Liberians are poor people and having a difficulty to afford tuition on the University of Liberia. So to have made a decision for the University of Liberia to be tuition free, I do not have problem with it. But yet is the problem. To sacrifice tuition free for quality. It is the greatest disservice ever done when it comes to education. This should be one of the core responsibility of a government. It is not just by that empty building standing there and has a name on the University of Liberia, and it's not this promotion and public relations strong. Oh, we get, and the tuition is free. Nobody pays school fee. That is not enough. That is insignificant when it comes to providing education for our people. It starts with the facility. It starts with the teachers and the quality of education that we provide. I'm sure many of you have seen the pictures. For each time I take a look at those pictures, I guess destroy in my spirit. And for that reason, I'm not showing those pictures. Because if I do that today, I will rob myself or my little mojo here to do my presentation. But I will describe to you. Bathrooms are stink. The classrooms are looking like if you have gone on a farm before to get some chickens to eat. Look, this is how the University of Liberia campus, the main campus in the center of Monrovia, is looking, fellow Liberians. And yet our friend boasts of a responsible government. How responsible is your government when the nation's #1 institution of higher learning is in ruin, is in dilapidation? The classrooms are filthy. If you see the walls of the building, they are dirty. Rain pouring in the building. There are no toilets for students, for staffs. and you call that a school, and you glorify this government for providing free education? Seriously? This is a national disgrace. I want to use the opportunity to call on every student of the University of Liberia. If you dearly care about your own education, if you dearly love your country, to boycott classes immediately until that entire place is renovated to a befitting status. Thomas Fowler University is 99 times better than the University of Liberia. This is a disgrace. A Thomas Fowler University. And he too having to be a member of this government. But the guy cares about what is personal for him. His school is in a little befitting condition. But he, as an official of government, his party is in power. And he cares less about what his party does about the national institution of our country, the University of Liberia. And this guy is in the house. He's the chairman on Ways and Means. He is not advocating for more funds to be provided for our university to be renovated, but instead he cares about his university. And some of you will come and tell me, Ali, they're doing well, and the tuition is free. People can go to school free. So if a student is jammed because nature calls, where will that student go? In the 21st century, on the campuses of the University of Liberia, girls have to be going into the butchers to use the restroom. If that is not a disgrace, do not ever listen to this platform. The University of Liberia? And this government had the audacity to boast of generating the highest level of revenue in the country. This is just laughable. I don't know, they are practicing voodoo economics or whatever it is. I have no idea. I am not a student of economics in a business. I am a student of political science. But this is voodoo economics told me. Your people are not taking pay. How often do we not hear about people protesting for their meager salary? How often do we not hear that? And you are telling us our finance minister, Samuel D. Twell, aka D. Twell, the most eloquent, Mr. Eloquent of the government, even had the audacity to tell us that they were experiencing budget surplus. But the numbers could not either. I who has no idea of what numbers are, I couldn't even understand those numbers. They could not add up. How you have a surplus and you have a university looking at that? The last time I checked, Nathaniel Mange was at the University of Liberia as a student. The last time I checked, Samuel Twelve were on the campuses of the University of Liberia as a student. And also the last time I checked, Samuel Twelve was at what you call Tonmoha as a student. A few months ago, when the president visited the campus of Tonmoha, that school, that prestigious government institution that we can boast of to have produced one of our best brains, is too in ruin and in dilapidation. And yet Samuel Twelve is a finance minister, and yet nothing has been done about it. This is how you see the unseriousness of these individuals who we call government officials. They are government officials because they have access to national coffers and they can dip in there and take any amount and build their homes and fly private jet and spend up to $12,000 on a single ticket to travel. That's what makes them officials of government, right? Is that why they were important in the first place? Is this the kind of thing we're going to live with here in this country? The nation's number one is in ruin. Are there students here listening to me? University of Liberia students, you have to be your own advocate. It is a disgrace in the 21st century that you walk on the campuses of the university and it is in ruin and it's okay with you and you go to class. Then they want to boast about e-learning. Can you believe that? The internet is not stable. The University of Liberia is in arrears to LEC, the very LEC that can't even provide a stable internet. Or electricity. So how can you not have electricity? How will you even be able to provide internet? And you say you're doing e-learning. Jesus Christ, help us. But hey, Comrade Jesus will not help us. Even Comrade Jesus will not help us. It's about time Liberians rise up, not to go to war, not to tear each other down, but to stand up for what is right for the country and the future leaders of the country. That's what I'm asking you to do. At least once for this country that we all dearly own and love, even though others are milking it, while others watch as spectators. Some of them are not even spectators on the field. They are in exile and smelling the crumbs. And yet they worship those guys who are plundering everything about that country. The University of Liberia must be renovated. On behalf of Focus on Liberia and in my own name, I am calling on this so-called propo government, if it is even want to call a propo government, to renovate the school because that's where the poor people's children go to school. It cannot be in ruin. And you consider yourself pro, meaning you are in favor of the poor that go to that school, and yet they don't have toilets, and yet they don't have bathrooms. And then the school is all dirtied off. Stop giving us this kind of, empty lecture that amounts to nothing. Let me progress first. And then, as we speak of this political mystery that we have on our hand, and as we speak for a new direction, and as we try to search for a new path, and as we try to say, hey, we need change, because what we have done is not change. It is not even business as usual. It's business in reversal as usual. That is how I will pull it. Because it's the same, but it is reversing. And when it reverses, it stagnates everything. And that is depressing. So as we are thinking about how do we get away from the political chaos that we have on our hands, this political stagnation, this political subjugation of our people, how do we get away from it? How do we move forward? We look in the political landscape. Unfortunately, we don't see many choices in the opposition bloc. Where are the well-meaning Liberians? Where are they? The political noise is too much for their ears. They have all retreated in their homes. They have given up. They don't think the people of Liberia have ears to listen to voice of reason. That they don't have the ability to decide who can make a good leader. And so, unfortunately, folks, we are left with two choices. And I am boldly saying this. We are left with two choices in the opposition. Because in Liberian politics today, when you talk about opposition, Who are the names that you hear? Ure, we're crossing out. He has no political clout and meaning. Politically speaking, he has no meaning. He has zero meaning. So he's out. Who next? Nyomli Kaka Lawrence? Does that name even sound like a serious Manda leader? Is that the woman who is collecting $30,000 while University of Liberia is in ruin? Is that not the woman who collected $6,000 to approve a Buko stimulus package that was brought in that very legislature? Is that not the woman? Is she a presidential material? Of course not. So I'm not political X to her name. She cannot be counted for any serious national leadership. She's thinking political kakaleka. Politically, she has nothing to offer our country. The only thing she does have is her ability to collect free checks. That's what she has. Even folks in the Liberty Party will agree with me here. That's all she has. So who all do we have left? But before I come to who all do we have left, let's look in the Liberian community. What names are we hearing? Where is Tiawon Gonglo? He has a good name. But where is he? He's been swallowed and buried by the political noise. Tiawon Gonglo, this thing is simple. How is this thing so complicated for you and your team? Politics in Liberia is noise. Pull your own boys together, let them make the noise. Take onto the media. Grant interview one after the other. Be consistent with it. You will get in the narrative. Look at this guy calling himself I think Cassell. Does he even have a serious political party? That guy is a political clown in my own understanding of politics. But he makes the noise. He puts a few people together that are making noise here and there. So some way, somehow, I too get to mention his name as any person to be part of the narrative. And you have a serious name in our country and you are chickening out? Really? So politics are putting a question mark to Tiawon Gonglo. He's not ready for prime time. He's a good lawyer. A one I having to respect, admire, oh so dearly. I love this guy. But is he prepared? And really, is he thirsty? Does he want to be? I don't see it. I really do not see it, folks. Tiawon, if you really do, get to business. Stop warming the chair. You are one of our best. Come forth like you mean it. Don't stay to the back. I mean, a weir could be elected. A guy who has no serious mind, politically speaking. Let's forget about politics in terms of leadership and understandings of social issues. And this guy, because, few folks made noise for him, and today he's a leader of our country. Tiawon, do you now understand that simple political calculation? Can you now be able to put a team together to do that? But I will not waste my time. I put question mark to Tiawon Gonglo until he's ready. If you are a Gonglo guy, tell him he has a mail from Ansony Sieh of Focus on Liberia. We, the people of Liberia, are looking for a glorious land of opportunity. We will not be kind because poverty is not kind to our people, because corruption is not kind to our people, or the corrupt and looters of our country, they are not kind to our people. So in this search for a better leadership, for that glorious land of liberty, that glorious land of opportunity, I will not be kind in my search. I will be respectful though, but I will be viciously and anxiously, patriotically and vehemently search for that person. So let's come to the two choices that we are left with. Where is my political mentor or George Click here? Dr. Kier, where are you? Your love for our country is impeccable. I see your heart. It bleeds with tears every day for a country you dear loved. You did everything. But the game is you don't stop. In Africa, the first try is nothing. The second is like, oh, is he wanting to? Sometimes the third time does the trick. Where are you? So I'm not even putting question mark. I'm just asking, where are you? Where are other Liberians? Do they not want to be leaders? Why are they losing hope this way? And so we are left with Mr. Bwaka and Mr. Cummings. So let's talk about the politics of numbers that I've been hearing. I've been hearing this argument, and the folks in the Unity Party, folks on the Bwaka's team, have been claiming some level of supremacy, some level of authority, that they're in a good place with the numbers here. I am not a numbers guy, but I have my little way of looking at things that sometimes make sense, folks. So let's look at those numbers. 2017 came. It was a political contest of the time. Oh, yes. You see me smiling. I love this stuff. That's why I laugh about it. Sometimes when I tie my face, people say, Tommy, this guy, what's this guy? Is he an angry guy? No, I'm not. Very cheerful. But let's go to the issues. Numbers. As I was saying, that 5th for 2017 came. The first round. We have the first 5. Who came with 38%, followed by Bwaka, 28%. That was a 10% margin between the two of them. Votes were around 500,000, 500,000 people, and Bwaka came, he was around 400,000, and, pretty close to 500,000 people that he took out at the time. And then followed by Prince Johnson was in the mix. Tim Bronsky was at 9%. Cummings came there also. He was at 7.2%. Those are the numbers, folks. So let's look into the numbers. How looking at these numbers? And in this case, let me give you 3 numbers. Bronsky is out of the way. Prince Johnson has become an insignificant political figure right now in our country because what this guy does is trade his a little political capital to the highest bidder to catch out. That's what Prince Johnson does. This guy is a political businessman in our country. That guy should be in jail in the first place because of the crimes against humanity that he committed in our country. But we are a CDC that claimed that they were for the World Economic Crimes Court, who have pursued the idea of indicting a Prince Johnson attempting political kakaleka way because they want power to steal. How could these people disappoint others? But I will leave that for another day. Let's go to the numbers. So we have got 38% in the first round. That was when he was that popular. That was when he was blameless, politically speaking. That was when he did not have a single political baggage at the time. He was Mr. Clean. He was Mr. Innocent. He was the masses people. He was the change agent. And yet, this change agent, an icon of soccer, an iconic war figure, especially in the soccer war, prominently known then in Liberia as the son of the sword, who went against a popular vice president at the time. He got 38%. That world best. That Mr. Clean got 38%. And what happened? We saw Mr. Another Clean, Joseph Yamamboak, 2 times vice president, solid 12 years. And so he became a household name, more so when he was on the ballot. No one needed to tell anybody who he was. What did he get? He got 28%. He was being supported by the giant political institution at that time, a unity party. I don't want to talk about the damage he himself had done to the party that divided the party. I don't want to talk about that. But he had his own clout. He got 38%. The second round will come. And yes, it's the thing that is interesting about the numbers some people do not want to know. So in the second round, so Bwaka got 400,000. We all got 500,000. They went into the second round. They were the two highest now. What happened? Additional plus we have 500 plus Bwaka's 400,000. Additional 147,000 people voted. Are you listening to me? So in other words, we have maintained his 500,000 he got. Bwaka too have maintained his 400,000 he got. In the second round, additional 147,000 people voted for or against or had to vote for these two candidates. So what happened? Of the 147,000 additional voters for these two candidates, how much did Joseph Yuma Bwaka get? He got 10%. That is about 10,000 votes. So how could this guy be in a good place of numbers? How could he have had this, greatest authority on the number, could command the numbers at the time when he and we were fighting for 147,000 votes, and he got only 10,000 out of 147,000? That's why he got, constituting 10%. And how much did we get? We had netted nearly 92% out of the 147,000 votes. It was a debilitating defeat. It was a humiliating defeat. Humiliating defeat for him. How could you, as vice president, go to get just 10,000 out of 147,000 to put it right? That's all he got. And out of the sudden, to make the numbers more graphic for you, we have 15 political subdivisions that we call counties. How many of those did Bwaka get? Folks, how many of those did Mr. Bwaka get? Mr. Bwaka won one county. Out of the 15, he won one county. That is not telling when it comes to numbers. 15 counties. You won a single one. And out of the sudden, you are this guy who has command on the numbers, who did well in the numbers. You did well in the numbers. You got 10,000 out of 147 additional votes. That's all you could get, constituting 10%. And we will snatch nearly 92% out of that. Was that not humiliating? Were you in any way, in any good place whatsoever on the numbers? So what numbers are you talking about here? I don't see the numbers on your side. I do not see the numbers on your side. You boast about 400,000 votes, and your 400,000 votes will only give you one county. So maybe the other numbers are calling that one hard to understand. So let's leave it. Myself too, I easily get confused with numbers because I'm not a number guy. But this one that is so simplistic is 15 counties. You got one. Former vice president, 12 solid years. And at the time, your government claimed to have done it all in a considerable way. You boast of roads, you boast of institutions, you boast of bringing development to Liberia. You boast of increasing Liberia budget from 80 million to 500 million. You boast of foreign direct investment. You boast of everything. And 15 counties that in your own imagination you serve so well, developmentally and in every shape or form. And they will have the opportunity to grade you. Out of 15, they gave you one. And that one only having to be a county you come from. And so the convention of wisdom, and the reason why that county voted for you is only because you are their son. So if you were not their son, you would not have won anything. So don't tell me about numbers, because the way you explain the numbers make absolutely no sense. You are not in a good place. So I am tired of this numbers thing you're always telling us. You are not in a good place when it comes to the numbers. So let me give you a contrast of the numbers. There's a guy called Alexander Bell in the comments. He was this guy that they don't know. He's just coming. He's just from America. Is he even a Liberian? All these questions were being raised. Oh, coming, just coming. He's new. Nobody knows him. And of course, they were right. He didn't have that name recognition. He didn't have that popularity. He was the new guy on the block, politically speaking, in Liberia. His political party was even new on the block. ANC, what is ANC? Critics went as far as saying, oh, it's another breakaway faction of cities and blah, blah, blah. And this guy, his first attempt, he got 7.2%. Yeah. And since then, he stayed in Liberia. And since then, he has been making a political efforts. And you think the numbers, the guy who came to the political competition 18 months to a game day or to showtime. He came in 18 months to showtime. And he managed to net 7%. He managed to net around 127,000 votes, if my numbers are correct. And you think that guy stay in that same place? So in 18 months, he netted 7.2%. He netted more than 100,000 votes. And you think in 6 years to the next election, he will be in the same place. When he is even fighting better, when he is even making some gains, when his message is now resonating, when he got people joining him, when his political institution has no blemish in our political theater, when he has no political baggage, when there's no corruption scandal or story whatsoever against him, when the Liberian people are yearning for something different, dealing the thirst for something different gave us a DeLong who just full up with lecture and our people bought it because he has projected himself as this something different. Didn't the Liberian people in Morovia overwhelmingly go for DeLong? Didn't they? Don't you think the Liberian people still have that thirst for something new, something fresh, something refreshing? Don't you think they have that thirst, that appetite? Don't you think they are tired with the old order? Are they not tired with the old order? Don't you think they need something new this time around? Do you not think so? I'm just asking questions. So the numbers are not static. The numbers move. Numbers are dynamic. If you push the number, it moves to the different direction. So look, instead of just sitting down, warming chair, and boasting of numbers that are not in your favor in the first place, you need to rise up and do something. Because the numbers that you were talking about were never in your favor in the first place. And let us also remind you that you were rejected, overwhelmingly rejected. So when you say you have the numbers, are you talking about the numbers that suggested or show that you were rejected? That the same numbers you're talking about today? You better find a better argument, because your argument is malnourished. Your ideas are weak in terms of understanding the numbers. Oh yeah, I see that politics. You create a narrative in your favor. You yell, and yell. Because maybe you have the loudest voice in the political space. And out of a sudden, because you are yelling on top of your head, or after a sudden, because you have thousands of people, 200,000, and several people watching you, out of a sudden, that is the magic. That is the magic. Good luck. One thing I know in politics, there will be a winner. And that's why I don't have a side. I do not have a side, because I want to be free as I can possibly be to express my opinion, not holding back, like because he's having a side, he want to economize the truth and all that. I don't do that. I come with force and swinging with the truth and nothing but the truth. So the numbers are not in Team Workers' favor. They have to work to end it. It is a political competition. Put a team together. Because as far as I see, you don't have a team. You have a divided house filled with political species, many of whom are tinted with political stain. That's all you have. You need to find a way to salvage it. Instead of doing that, to boast of numbers that suggest that you were defeated, that you were rejected, that you were pushed aside. And that is your argument for today in the new political dispensation, where the thirst for something new, for change. And this is what I want to tell you. The reason why they are also not using the word change is because they do not represent change. Do you not see their messaging? All we hear is experience, experience, experience. And the question I ask, what kind of experience you talking about? Are you talking about the experience that Ben Rod no car? Is that the kind of experience you're talking about? The experience that gave us around 60 to 65 others reports? Is that the kind of experience you're talking about? Are you talking about experience that left RA University of Liberia in dilapidation? Is that the experience you're talking about? Or are you talking about the experience that left us a southeastern region that is completely impossible to travel to in the rainy season after 12 years? Is that the kind of experience you are talking about? So folks, you see and you see and you see again why they do not and will not use the word change, because what Liberia does really need, folks, is change. That is what we need. That's what Barack Obama, my political mentor, that is the word he picked. That America needed change. And America got that change from the policies of the board. So what change are we looking for now in this country? What change? I think we need a change from the old order. We need a change that the United Party could not give us. We need a change that the George we are CDC pro Ben Rob government could not give us. That is the kind of change we need. Oh yes, that's the change we need. We don't need more of the same. When an individual calling himself a de facto president, Nathaniel Falomage, a guy who was writing from Jimama Wolokoli just a few months ago in a swamp, where if you went to a house, you would hear Bofro doing cron, and this guy, in less than 3 years, is building a Mussolini, which is a house for his dead mother. May her soul rest in perfect peace in the midst of hungry seditions. And some of these seditions say they are having conventions, I don't know where. Have you lost your mind? So, folks, they will not run on change, the change we need. They will tell you about experience and ask them what kind of experience and what have we benefited as a country from this experience. Do we have a vibrant agricultural sector? Do we have a vibrant educational system? And that is your news. We were told by the madam, the powerful woman in the Unity Party at the time, that the educational system was a mess. So what change? I mean, what experience are you telling me about here? Is this the kind of experience we're going to settle for? You're listening to me, you're telling me I'm pushing the line of another candidate. I don't have candidate. If I do, my candidate is Liberia. That's what I'm flying the flag on my side. Not because I love Liberia more than you do. It is because I'm just a crusader of the truth for Liberia. That's what it is. So they will not run on experience. I mean, they will run on experience. They will not run on the change the Liberian people need and the Liberian people desire. They will not do that because they don't have any message of change. In their DNA, they don't have it. Because change represents a departure from the old order. The vices of corruption and nepotism, all these things, they don't represent that change. So if you want me to answer the question, which is the final segment of this broadcast and my presentation, which candidate is desperate? Is it Vice President Joseph Yuma Bwaka Sr., or is it Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings Jr.? You know, I'm giving them their titles. I'm giving you some of the details that you don't know. His name is Joseph Yuma Bwaka Sr. Some call him doctor. They call him Mr. Clean. Clean? Hey! So who is desperate here? Because this is the jobs that these two political camps are trailing right now. They are throwing this job. Bwaka is desperate, Cummings folks will say. And the Bwaka folks will say Cummings is desperate. So in your opinion, who is desperate? Who is desperate here? Look, let me lay on you so that I can get out of here, focus on Liberia, because today is Thursday and we will be having our program, Tough Talking Thursday. And here's the good news. I will be on Tough Talking today. I will be tough and I will talk tough. So don't miss Tough Talking. Coming on today, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, live right here at Focus on Liberia. If you want to know what we're talking about, corruption smells in the CDC government. We are going to dig into all the nitty-gritty of all the corruption cases and allegations and rumors that you've been hearing. We will split it into pieces for you to understand. MPA smells. Even LACC, the folks that should be fighting the corruption, they too, they got their hands in the cookies jar. Is that true? You come here on Focus on Liberia at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We will give it to you straight. We're not going to hide it. That's what we do here. So who is desperate? So I can take leave of you. You want to know who is desperate? So I don't just come to any conclusion. I do analysis. I gave you, pieces of the puzzle So that when I say this is what I think it is, even if you disagree with me, you will say, yeah, at least he gave a reason. So who is desperate? So in life, there's time for everything in life. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf picked Josiah Yamabwaka. And Josiah Yamabwaka served Ellen Johnson Sirleaf for 12 solid years. That was after Mr. Bwaka has served in government for over 35 years. We are in tune with the facts. He served at LPMC. He served at PRC. Served as Minister of Agriculture. As Vice President for 12 years, he served in so many capacities. He was responsible for providing supervisory roles on the Group of 77. And he also was at the Lottery Club of Liberia. He was playing some supervisory role. At the level of the Senate, he was president of the Senate. He had the opportunity to represent Liberia all around the world, United Nations, White House, all these places. He served it all. He enjoyed it all. What more is left? And Ellen Johnson Sirleaf reached a deal with him. Sir, at least we had a great opportunity to serve our people. We are advanced in age now. It is about time that we leave the stage and let a new breed of Liberians come so that they can try their new ideas and new energy. Because Liberia must move on. We can't hold the future hostage. And so Ellen, with her political wickedness and sins, left the scene. She tried to reach the deal with Bwaka. Bwaka will not agree. 35 years in government before becoming vice president for 12 years. He has a budget that were around 2 million United States dollars for 12 solid years. He enjoyed that. Even though we were being told he was park and squander opportunities, that is one of the experiences maybe we should be talking about here. Talking about experiences, that's one. Squander opportunities. Even Mr. Bwaka is on record telling us that during the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration, some of the folks in the government, instead of implementing, they were doing PowerPoint presentation. That is one of the experiences again. So they want to come and do another PowerPoint presentation. He didn't talk about it then. Now that he's running, now that he didn't win, and now he has the courage to talk about they were just doing PowerPoint presentation. And another thing he said, that in their government, some folks who were in the government came from America, they were just paying for their mortgages in America. These are the experiences that they have. Are the experiences pluses for our people? These are the kind of experiences we're going to bet on. Did we not bet on them for 12 years? What did we get? The whole country was being robbed. Here we are. We can't boast of a befitting laboratory in our country. Not a single one in Morovia leads to talk about man counted of Grand Crew. We can't boast of a single lab in Morovia after 12 years. And the very Unity Party, because they could not unite, they got divided. And that division, Bwaka is part of that division, heavily so, where they expelled Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf tried to fight for her own political protection. They couldn't even keep their house in order. So she went and paid George Weah. And the Unity Party gave us George Weah through Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And because Bwaka and Ellen could not come to one understanding, these are the facts that they will not tell you. And some of you have been listening, but you don't just get this picture. And I'm here to give it to you. That is why I'm your guy. Two adults, two senior citizens of our country who have had the opportunity to serve the country for 12 unbroken years could not get their house in order, could not agree on who to be their presidential candidate. They divided the house. Ellie went her way. That is how we got here. This is one of the experiences of the Unity Party that they are running on today. And how good is Joshua for us? You all know we are in political mystery. Depths of auditors are all over the place. This is another experience of the Unity Party. And Waka was the man in command, second man in command, to put it right. And they could not get it together. You worked together for 12 years. You could not have a smooth transition to produce a candidate. You divided yourself. And finally, you gave us where, and where is burying our people in poverty. And you're the one we should trust. Again. So I asked the question, which of these candidates is desperate? Do you find the answer now? How am I desperate if I am trying to get there? You have been there. You have seen it all. Because of your own blunder, you fell from grace to disgrace. You suffer a humiliating defeat at the hand of a footballer. You miss all the allowances. You knew why you were enjoying. If you are not coming back for what you were enjoying, because I don't remember all that you did for our people very well, for which you are coming back, if it is not what you have enjoyed, for which you are coming back, putting you in the position of desperation, even at your age, then tell me, folks, who is desperate? Who you think is desperate? If all goes well, by inauguration year, the VP should be 80 years old. At age 80, you want to be president after 12 years of our presidency. And yet you tell me you are not desperate, but you have the experience. And I have just listed a few of the experiences. They are not pretty. They are not pretty at all. Those experiences are responsible for a wear that we have today, a proper government of mystery that we have today, a government in which people who have significant information to anything concerning money in our country, they are out of die. Matthew Innes, George Fambutu, Peters. These auditors, today we can find them. This is one of the experiences. This is the product of the Unity Party experiences. So, folks, who is desperate? You have this Alexander Cummings, who came and he said, "Oh, I want to serve my country." He's competing. He didn't win it for the first time he tried. He never been there before. He said, "Well, I'll keep trying." How is that desperation? How is that a desperation? How is a child who tried to go to school and did not graduate Say, no, I can't stop. I have to graduate. How is wanting to graduate from high school a desperation? How? You tell me. Folks, again, this is Focus on Liberia. I am Ansony Sieh, the host of the Hour of Politics, a program, political program in the Liberian community here on Liberia's most respectful platform like no other, where we do not entertain insults. We do commentary. We provide political analysis for our people to understand the issues. And this is where serious minds come to listen to balanced, fair, and analytical, you know, discussion on the issues that are happening in our country. Hey, we will have to come to the end of this broadcast. Until I see you again next time, my name will always be Ansony Sieh, and I brought you yet another exciting, analytical, balanced, thorough, and informative edition of the Hour of Politics. To conclude, we talk about the new appointments in the proper government. We talk about the dedication of a Fiamumu fiasco 14 military hospital that has not saved, that did not save Mambutu. He was an official of the proper government. It did not save, this military hospital did not save his life. Unfortunately, he had to die. The military hospital took 3 years to be completed. But the proper government built its president 14 units condominium, all upstairs building, Hinan Street Palace, acquire a private jet, promise our people an airline, and they show all cake, and we are yet to see that particular airline even taking off for a single flight. Even though they told us in October it was going to happen, it has not happened. And you are celebrating a 14 military hospital that have 14 emergency rooms. We talk about that. University of Liberia lies in ruin, a national disgrace for our nation, a proper government, a government filled of poor and indigenous people. And yes, I have the courage to say that. They know their brothers and sisters are in that school. They just provided free tuition and they think it was all to it. And that school is the dirtiest university on the face of the earth. And that is a national disgrace. And they must act now to correct this disgraced, this blundered. I'm calling on the students to boycott classes immediately until that university is renovated to a befitting condition. Joshua lives in the best house in Liberia. Mange lives in the best house in Liberia. Tuel live in the best house in Liberia. And they are going to school in a dilapidated building. The guy they elected has prioritized himself and his cronies and care less about you, and they fool you with tuition, but then you go into schools in a building, classrooms that are leaking all over the place. Stop going to school there. Demand that they renovate those schools so that you can go to school in a befitting classroom for Christ's sake. Show yourself love. Stand up for something. Stand up for your country. And also we talk about the politics of numbers between Tim Bwaka and Tim Cummings. This particular topic, I will continue to treat it, but I have to leave it now. And I also concluded that if anybody is desperate, I'm not sure this Cummings. I'm sure it has to be the guy who, in all calculation, has reached and even surpassed retirement age. I've served as vice president for 12 years, served as Minister of Agriculture, served as boss for LPMC, served as boss of LPRC, and yet we're not retired. And yet, we all know he's tired. And still, he won't get away from this thing. Is he not desperate? Then who is desperate? This is how I would draw down the curtains. Folks, I want to apologize to you. We didn't read comments. We didn't take call. I've been on vacation for the whole month. My company I work for sent me to another state where they short. So they sent me there, when it's tough, the guy you want to send there is Ansony. So I went in the terrain. I do my thing. They have me in an executive suite. I enjoy corporate America a little bit. So I'm not testing for any political job in our country. I just want a country where there are opportunities like me. I in a country where there are opportunities. Nobody in the complaint is my family member, but I get to be selected and be given an executive suite paid for by the company for a whole month with allowance on top of it. And I was there doing my thing. That's what I want for my brothers and sisters in Liberia. And we're talking about that. You can't give me all experiences here. Give me a break in Liberia. We will see it. All right, folks. This song that says, "We are all Liberians," as you know, will always take us home here at Focus on Liberia. That song, I want you to listen to it for just 2 minutes before you leave. And you will tell me thank you anytime you see me. I love you all, but I love Liberia more. Bye bye.
We are Liberians.